Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Lately in my country there has been aggressive movements from the Wahhabis going around to remove all traces of the Holy Prophet ﷺ's existence. They started to remove all hadith and replace them with Wahhabi ideas and teachings. What should we do?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That is a sign of the Akhir Zaman. It's a big sign of the Akhir Zaman. We cannot do anything. We don't have the power in our hands. What we can do, we can ask Allah to remove them. What can we do? We can clean ourselves and ask Allah to bring back the Sultan and the Khalifa and to bring the appearances of Hazrat Mahdi soon. We can ask Allah to remove the Jababira, to remove the tyrants away from us. Those who want to listen, we may speak to them. Those who don't want to listen, we are not going to go out to fight and to argue with them. That is also forbidden. Because this is happening everywhere. They even dig up the graves of the Sahabi Kiram, isn't it? They dig up the graves of the Sahabis. They dig up their jasad, their bodies. Everywhere it is happening. Such a thing has never happened in 1400 years. So, who is really responsible for all of this? Wahhabis, they are responsible. They are shaitans. Shaitan is just doing his job. Who is responsible? We are responsible. You know why? Because Allah sent a protector to us. But we say, we don't want your protection. Allah sent His protection, His sword. And we say, we don't want that. We don't want your representative. We don't want your Khalifa. We want nationalism. We want socialism. We want democracy. We want every ism except for Islam. How did these Wahhabis, they come into power? They did not come into power when the Ottoman sultans were ruling. Ottoman sultans broke their back. How did they come into power? They came into power by the enemies of Islam, by the British and the French who were holding them up. The foolish Muslims, they're saying, we like this. Now I'm seeing somewhere, even foolish ones, they're saying, they're calling themselves representing saints. Obviously, they are saying that themselves they are saints. And they are praising Sharif Hussein, that he was the Khalifa. Who recognized him as the Khalifa? The British, isn't it? It was the British who told him, revolt against the Ottomans, against the Sultans, against the Turks. This is how they play nationalism now. It's not longer among Muslims, believers and unbelievers. Now they say Turks and Arabs, Pakistanis and Indians, Bosnians and Moroccans, Bengalis and Chinese. Now the Ummah is split. It's no longer about one Ummah. It's no longer about Muslims. It's about nationalism. It's about nationality. It's about tribalism that Prophet has forbidden. Because that Khalifa, he did not support one group of people. He was Adil. He supported every group of people. If he only supported one group of people, it would have been his own people, the Turks. Did he do that? If he only supported the Turks and is trying to push Turkish nationalism, everyone today, all the Muslims today, from the Balkans to China, from Malaysia to Russia to Africa, everyone will be speaking Turkish. Everyone's culture will be lost. That's the easiest way that the colonialists they were using. How long Morocco was under the French? 500 years? 300 years? And now, how many people in Morocco speak French? Everyone. When did they leave? Years ago. Why are we speaking French still? Because they have crippled us. And the Ottomans ruled Morocco for hundreds of years. Not a single person speaks Turkish. Because Allah is saying, this is wrong. You cannot do that. So these Wahhabis, they are doing everything now. But our leaders are supporting them. Whether they're calling themselves Ahli Sunnah or Wahhabi idea. Whether they're calling themselves Ahli Tariqat or not. They're supporting them. Like I said, they're supporting Sharif Hussein. He is Sharif, of course he is Sharif. But do you know that he was exiled, and until his dying day he was crying and was begging forgiveness. He cried so much because of the wrong that he had done, because he rebelled against the Ottoman Sultan, against the Khalifa, that he went blind. Do we know that? That he said, how I have done so much damage to this ummah, begging for forgiveness. Yes. In the beginning, they only managed to split the ummah into two. The Sunnis and the Shia, isn't it? But since the past 100 years, they split us into hundreds. They have done that. And this is all because of what? Why this split between the Sunni and the Shia? Because the Shia, they did not recognize Hazrat Abu Bakr. They did not recognize the Khalifa. And why we split into hundreds of pieces? Because we say we don't recognize Khalifa. We want to elect our own leader. And the punishment, heavy punishment is coming to this nation unless we turn around and ask for forgiveness and ask Allah to bring the Sahibul Zaman soon and to remove these tyrants away from us. We are also responsible. We are all under punishment. Pull ourselves away from all that confusion. Because these shaitans, it is their job to make confusion. And it is the job of the believer not to fall into this confusion and to run away from it. But don't worry. Their time is up. Their time is finished. That's why they're going crazy. The time for the appearances of Hazrat Mahdi alayhi salam is coming soon. And as long as we prepare ourselves for that, that is what we are doing. Then that time, yes, that time, Allah's justice is going to fill everywhere in the world. Inshallah Rahman. We're asking for His strength and guidance for this nation. But if the shepherds, they are weak, if the shepherds, they are evil, if the shepherds, they are betrayers, what's going to happen to the sheep? Now, everywhere, the leaders of the Muslim nations, majority of the scholars leading Islam, they are zalim. They are tyrants. They know how to gather so many people, but they cannot even stop something like this from happening. You claim you have power, say something at least. But especially the scholars, they are not saying something because they are afraid. They are afraid from the governments. They are not afraid from Allah. Awliya Allah, they pull themselves back. The smallest, the lowest level awliya Allah, they can change the direction of this world to spin to the other way, to finish all these problems. But there is no permission for them to interfere in these days. Allah is saying, now watch the ummah. Put your hand on their pulse and see where they are. Let me tell you something. There has been so many destruction of maqams, of masjids, of so many holy places, isn't it, in Islam? Especially tasawwuf, holding on strongly, they destroy. How much we hear from the alims, the ulamas, and the sheikhs speaking out against this. Remember a few years ago when a statue of the Buddha in Afghanistan, it was blown up by the Taliban. Which sheikh, which alim, which scholar did not say to the whole world, this is wrong, this is un-Islamic, we don't support this? What the Taliban did. Didn't they do what Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam did? Didn't they destroy an idol? Didn't the idol belong to them? But there are stories, not stories, there are secrets behind that action too. That the Zionist media, it is just manipulating. Those ones, we're not supporting so many things that they're doing. They're Taliban. We're not supporting so many things. But they have that statue there that nobody gives about for centuries. That Genghis Khan himself, they destroyed, isn't it? Wasn't he Buddhist? He destroyed himself. And these ones understand how the West is running after these things. And they say, we don't want this. But you have placed an embargo, a sanction on our country. And our children and our people, they are dying from hunger. They are dying from disease. They're dying because you have placed this embargo. Take this stupid statue. Just give us some medicines for our children. They says no. They say, the Taliban, they are saying, take this. If you want, we're not even asking anything. We're not selling it to you. But we have to look for our people too, what they're thinking and what they're saying. They said no. They're saying to them, go to hell. They say, go to hell? Okay. This is what we're going to do then. This is our property, isn't it? Yes. We have a right now. They blew it up. And every sheikh and every scholar stood up and said, this is wrong. This is not Islamic, this is that, this is this, this is that. But now, what happened now? Where are all those voices? Where are all those powerful scholars? Where are all those sheikhs? Why they're not standing up to say to their governments, yes, we know the games that they are playing too. So, these days it is not necessary to be in official stations. Because if you do that, chances are your faith is going to decrease. Pull yourself back. Pull ourselves back, we pulled ourselves back. And we're keeping ourselves busy with ourselves. And we're watching the world. And we're saying, this is pleasing to Allah. We must support this. This is not pleasing of Allah. May we stay away from it. So inshallah Rahman, yes, as individuals, there are some things that we can do. We cannot do so many things. But those ones who have power, the blame and the responsibility goes on top of their heads. And they are going to be responsible. You and me, we're not going to be responsible on the judgment day that Allah is going to question us about this. But them, they will be responsible. Astaghfirullah. Assalamu alaikum.